Hey, how is everybody? Welcome to Dark Side Movie Reviews. Welcome, especially if you are a guest. So we are doing something a little bit different today. This is our 1,000 subscribers Q&A video. And let me tell you, I've been waiting a super long time to do something like this. It's just taken me forever to hit this number, but I say this in honest, I am so thankful and appreciative to you because literally without you, we would not have hit that milestone on YouTube, and it was hard to hit. So thank you guys so much, and thank you really for the community that has formed around just hitting that. The conversations are great in the comments, and it's been so fun to interact with you guys, especially around Into the Badlands, but other things we've done as well. So I'm really looking to keep growing basically and really kind of building a community around this channel. As I've said before, I love YouTube because it is the only medium in which I feel like I can communicate with you and you can really kind of see, I guess, who I am as a person. Because I'm in front of the camera, so you're getting me audibly and you're also getting me visually as well. So anyway, you guys, I asked you some questions. I did this on a lot of my different social media platforms, and I was a little bit scared at first because I was like, man, maybe no one has any questions for me, which is always scary. You know, when you do videos like this, Q&As, it's a little bit nerve-wracking because, you know, you put out a video that you're going to do a Q&A and no one asks you any questions, and you're just like, ugh. But I actually did get a good number of questions just from different places through my different social media platforms. So apologies, you guys. You guys are getting this a day late. I know I said it was going to happen on Sunday night, but I was waiting a little bit longer to collect more questions. And I did get a good number. I got about maybe like 20 of them. Probably won't do all 20, but I got about 20 of them. And also, of course, I had some wedding stuff to do today as well. So let's get into it. These are your questions. I've got them right here. So I'm just going to read them off, and they come from all over the place. Some are from here on YouTube, and some from Reddit, and some from Instagram, and some from just friends, some from Facebook. So they're from all over the place, some from Twitter. So let's start off with some of the questions. So this first question actually comes from my brother, who is my twin. And he asked, what was the hardest movie to review and why? Oh man. Boy, that's a hard question. What was my hardest movie to review and why? I don't know. You know what? I don't really know. All right, you know what, guys? So let me think about that. I'm gonna have to circle back to this one, Wayne, because that's a good question. I'm not really sure. So let's go to the next one. The next one comes from Jennifer Hitchcock. This one came from Facebook. And this one says, will Stan Lee make an appearance in another movie? And the answer to that is yes. So it's likely, Jennifer, that Stan Lee will be in almost every Marvel movie we see from here on out. It's almost become a signature for Marvel that he does some kind of cameo in most of the Marvel movies, which is fitting because most of the characters that we see in Marvel movies, Stan Lee has had some hand in creating those characters. So he's almost like Marvel's logo, if you will. So I'm sure that any other Marvel movie we have, we'll see him in. So likely, Ant-Man is the next movie up. We are going to see Stan Lee in some way, shape, form, or fashion in that movie. So I'm sure that he will be there. All right, the next one comes from, this is from my buddy Anthony DeJoy. I'm actually wearing his t-shirt right here, so make sure you check his channel out. And the question that he asked is, the number one movie you connect with the summer blockbuster. Or I think he's asking, what movie do I think will probably be the biggest summer blockbuster? So at this point, I'm actually saying Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man is probably going to be the summer's biggest blockbuster movie. I mean, some people are saying good things about Jurassic Park, the latest installment of it. I have not seen it. I really have no desire to see it. But I do. I think Ant-Man is probably going to be the summer's biggest blockbuster movie because I think it's going to actually have more of a tie-in than we probably expect to Infinity War, and it's going to really ramp it up in the box office. I don't think it's going to be a blockbuster movie in the sense of all the kind of bells and whistles and the dynamic kind of fight sequences and all that kind of good stuff that we've gotten from some of the other Marvel movies in the past. past, just because Ant-Man seems to be a little bit of a lighter fare when you're talking about Marvel movies. It's not as dynamic as some of the others, but I do think that it is going to be probably the biggest summer blockbuster that we will get this year. So that's my thoughts about summer blockbuster movies, Ant-Man. And I'm not super excited about that either, but that's something for another day. All right, what's our next one? This one is from Willie D. Have you seen The Incredibles 2 yet? And what do you think? I have not seen The Incredibles 2 yet. And it's funny because a lot of friends have asked me that who've already seen it, and they're shocked when they find out I have not seen it. I have not seen it just because I haven't had time. And I think it's been like, 14 years, right, since the last Incredibles movie, which is, when you think about it, that's a long, long time for a sequel to a movie. So I am actually looking forward to seeing it because I heard it's really funny. And Sean Chandler, who also has, Sean Chandler talks about his channel, who also has a channel really very similar to ours. He made an interesting observation about Incredibles, which I agree with. One of the things that I really like about Incredibles is the uniqueness of the heroes in Incredibles. It's not really derived so much from other heroes. And I say so much because, let's face it, any superhero is derivative of some other superhero that's before it. Super strength, super speed, ice powers to be able to shapeshift and all that. There's normally some hero that came before it. So it's derivative from that sense. But at the same time, it's pretty unique as superhero movies go. And I agree with Sean with that. So I'm really looking forward to The Incredibles. Plus, I really love the vibe that Incredibles 1 has. And I feel like Incredibles 2 is really running along those lines. So I definitely will get out to see that. Maybe I'll be able to get to see that in the theater sometime this week. This is going to be a busy week again because next week at this time, you will see a ring on this hand. Next week, no, not next week. 2 weeks from now, you'll see a ring on this finger. So I better get out and enjoy it while I can. So I'm going to try and see Incredibles 2 this week. All right. What is the next one? The next one comes from Jack the Boss, and he says, "Is 2 + 2 actually 5?" Yes. 2 + 2 is actually 5. Now you might be thinking, now stay with me. You might be thinking, because you've probably been taught that 2 + 2 = 4. But there is a special math. I can't get too much into it. It's secret stuff where we do some other kind of calculations. And in that math, 2 + 2 = 5. But we better go with the answer being 4 for right now, because we don't want to shake up society with let's call it the hidden math. Yeah, let's call it the hidden math. All right. This one comes from T2. Do you think Black Panther was better than Infinity War? No, it wasn't. And let me just say something too, since T2 asked this question. Because some people have asked me about ranking all 19 Marvel movies. I ranked all 18. And I really don't need to rank all 8 and 19, because really you can just put Infinity War in front and then the rest of the ranking stays the same. And you can go back and check the ranking videos to see how I rank the others. Yes, I do. I think that Infinity War was actually much better than Black Panther to me. I really like Black Panther. The biggest thing I liked about Black Panther was the uniqueness of the story and kind of the relevance of the script, and how Black Panther was really, to me, the first movie that we've had from Marvel that really was story driven and addressed a dilemma between the hero and society, and not so much was it driven by, we've got to defeat this big bad hero that's going to conquer the world or conquer the universe. There was an element of that. Of course, Killmonger had some designs to really be kind of a force to be reckoned with the whole world, but it was much more, there was much more of a social dynamic that was woven into that movie. And we've not seen anything really like that from Marvel. Prior to that, honestly, a lot of the Marvel movies we saw kind of followed the same formula. Big bad man, big bad woman, big bad villain wants to come and take over the world. A hero or group of heroes come together to stop them. And that was the formula we saw essentially through almost every Marvel movie. But Black Panther broke from that, and it did it in such a good way. So that's why I had it ranked as number 1 before Infinity War. But Black Panther had its problems too. Definitely, I think that CGI-wise, Black Panther was was actually even, I would go so far as to say subpar. And fight choreography, oh my gosh, it was horrible to me for Black Panther. Really, really bad. It was much, much better. The fight choreography for Black Panther, for Black Panther the character in Civil War was much better than it was in Black Panther the movie. Honestly, Master D should have worked with them. Master D is the fight choreographer, or the main fight choreographer for Into the Badlands. And if you've ever seen Into the Bad, you know what, don't even get me started with Into the Badlands. He should have done the fight choreography for Black Panther. It would have made it that much better. But anyway, yes, the long answer or the short answer to that is Infinity War was indeed better than Black Panther, even though I was a big fan of Black Panther too. All right. Next question comes from my buddy again, Anthony DeJoya, and it says, what movie do you replay most often to pass time? You know what movie I watch a lot, Anthony, to pass time? And for me, it's still funny, Coming to America. I will put on Coming to America just to pass time, just to laugh. If I'm just feeling like, I want to watch something that I know is always going to give me a good viewing or some enjoyment every time I watch it, Coming to America. Coming to America was hilarious to me. And that's a movie that again, I can watch all the time. So that's my answer to that, Coming to America. This next one asks, what is your favorite movie? And this one comes from Thomas Branson. Check his channel out as well. I think it's just thomasbranson.com or .com on YouTube, because he does shorts for horror movies. They're shorts for horror movies, and if you're into horror movies, I think you'll like what he's doing. So what is my favorite movie? Man, Thomas, it's like almost asking like, did you see that needle in that haystack? I've seen so many, and you probably can identify, Thomas, all of you guys who love movies. Oh man, what is my favorite movie? Man, I don't even know. Like I couldn't name just one. I couldn't name just one. When that question is asked to me, there are some movies that pop into my head. I think Crash. I really enjoyed Crash. That was one of my favorite movies. I don't know if you guys remember Crash. I really enjoyed Titanic. John Wick. I don't know. It's just so hard to answer that question. I do not know. All right, so let's keep going. This one comes from Mary Farley Sullivan. She's a big fan of Into the Badlands. Let me stop and say this. There is an awesome Into the Badlands community on Facebook that I'm a part of. I definitely will put a link to that group in the description of the of this video. Guys, check it out. If you want a hardcore ITBL community, then that's the place to be, because man, they've got some super fans in there. It's such a fun place. So definitely click the link, check it out. And it's a closed group as well. So it's nice because they monitor the conversation that's going on there. So we're almost like we're just 100% into the Badlands. So guys, check that link out. I will definitely put it in the description. Don't forget to hit it and check that group out. It's an awesome group. All right. So Maryland's question is, I'm sorry, Marilyn. What's your take on season 3 of Into the Badlands? What's your take on how season 3 of Into the Badlands is going so far? It's amazing. I mean, when you think about where Into the Badlands is coming, incidentally, if you're not watching Into the Badlands, and I'm telling you, you don't know what you're missing. I believe the episode is returning. We're on our mid-season break right now. I think we're coming back in August. Listen, if you've been watching videos on this channel, you know we love Into the Badlands, and it's probably what is covered most heavily on this channel. I've got another video coming up about that, which I'll be posting sometime this week. It's just an amazing show. The best show on TV, hands down. It's amazing for so many different reasons. Into the Badlands on AMC. All right, so season 3. You know, I mean, there's so many things that have happened in season 3. And when you think about how far we've come and the development of the characters and where, for example, Sunny is right now, as opposed to working under Quinn, the story in Into the Badlands has unfolded in such an amazing way that I love season 3, because we've got all of these moving parts and all of these different pieces that have really just expanded the story to be just amazing. In every case, you're kind of holding on to the edge of your seat, because you're thinking about character motivations, you're thinking about storylines, you're thinking about what's going to happen next. We've got Moon back in play, so it's just everybody, man, is so good. Now, here's the interesting thing. I thought that I was really, really going to miss Quinn, and I still do miss Quinn. But I will tell you, with Moon back and with some of the other characters that they've developed, man, season 3 is just awesome. Awesome. And now we know that Pilgrim has the gift. Oh, boy. So yes, season 3. I've just thought it's been awesome. What do you think about that, Marilyn? If you see this video, comment. I'm interested to know what your thoughts are on that, how you would answer that question. And incidentally, guys, comment on anything on this video if you'd like. All right, the next one is from Dillard, and it says you have never reviewed horror movies. Why? Well, it's not completely true. I did review one movie, which was Don't Breathe, which I thought was awful. And people loved Don't Breathe. I thought it was awful, 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 awful. That was one of my earlier reviews, too. It's always funny when you go back and look at your earlier reviews and you're like, oh my gosh, you were so bad. But no, I don't typically review horror movies, but I do have this is a plug for a buddy of mine that's also a YouTuber named Cody Leach. Check him out, and Cody does everything horror almost. So if you're really into horror movies, make sure you check out Cody Leach's channel, because I'm sure he's covered it. And if you ask him, if he hasn't, and you ask him to, and he has time, he probably will. So Cody is the guy. He's the man for horror movies. I don't do horror movies because it's really just kind of not my thing. You know, I can probably count on one hand how many horror movies I've seen. So horror movies are just not my thing. So that's really why you don't see reviews of them on this channel. I don't not enjoy them. I think that some of them are good. It's just something that's just really not my thing. So I guess that's the best way that I would answer that. All right. Okay, we got another question from Anthony. And that one says, what was the first theater experience that blew me away? Man, this is a hard question too, Anthony. So let me answer this question this way. The first movie experience that blew me away, but yet not necessarily one of my favorite movies. Well, it is kind of one of my favorite movies. I guess what I'm trying to say is I've seen other movies that have really had, that I thought were just awesome cinematically in the theater. But the first movie experience that blew me away probably was Titanic. I don't even know if that's the first. It just comes to mind. So I love Titanic. There was something about the way that movie was shot, was written, was acted, the score, all of that just really grabbed me. I saw Titanic 7 times in the movie theater within probably the space of maybe a month and a half. 7 times. I don't know what was going on. Maybe something was going on in my life and I was just in a stage of deep emotionalism. I don't know. But that movie just really got to me, and it really impacted me. And the grandeur of really seeing it on a big screen really, really did impact me. So I would have to answer that movie. I'd have to at this point say Titanic, but at the same time, there are other movies I can think of as well. But when you ask that question, Titanic is what jumps off the page. All right. Okay. This one asks about The Walking Dead and... Oh, shoot. I did not... Man, I didn't attach the name to this. Oh, apologies when you hear this question. I did not attach the name, and we're having an amazing conversation going on about Into the Badlands. So here's the question, though. The question is, were you ever into the Walking Dead series? I know it's gotten rough the last couple of years, but Morgan Jones is one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. So people ask me questions about The Walking Dead all the time, and if you guys are fans of Into the Badlands, you know that Fear of the Walking Dead comes on prior to Into the Badlands on AMC. Here's my thing about zombie movies, and I've heard great things about The Walking Dead, but like psychologically, I have a hard time with movies where people are eating other people. It just does something to me like psychologically. I can't handle it. Now I've had people say that that's really not even the bulk of the show. I've had people say that it's really about the story and about the character development, but the fact that I know that an element of this show is people eating other people or zombies eating people, I psychologically, man, it's so hard for me to get past that. So that's one of the reasons why I have not watched The Walking Dead or any of the Walking Dead spin-offs. I just have a hard time with it. But I keep saying that I'm going to try and get into it because I know it has a huge fan base. A lot of people actually that watch Into the Badlands also watch The Walking Dead as well. And I've toyed around with even trying to cover it on the channel, but I don't know, man. I have a hard time with it. A really, really hard time with it. All right, guys, we have 3 more. I think I already asked that one about my favorite movie. That one was from Thomas Branson. Here's one about video games. What's my favorite video game? This comes from Aaron the Wizard. So, my favorite video game of all times, and I only have a PS4. I've always been a PS4 man. I've never had any of the other systems, at least in my adult years. In my younger years, I had Nintendo, and my favorite game at that time was the old Zelda. I mean, the old Zelda, the one with like the gold casing cartridge. That Zelda. So, but now my favorite game has to be Shadows of War. Lord of the Rings, Shadows of War. That game is phenomenal. It is a great, great game. Now, to bring up Cody Leach again, that's the guy who I said has the channel where he covers a lot of horror. He does cover video games as well. And Cody was talking about God of War, the latest edition of God of War, which I have, but I've not been able to play anything lately. But I really, really enjoyed Shadows of War, which was the Lord of the Rings video game. It's amazing. The fight sequences there are amazing. I mean, just everything about that game, the storyline, all of it is good. I love that game. So right now, Shadows of War is my favorite. I've gotten a little ways into God of War. I haven't gotten far. I think I'm like just out of the tutorial stage, but who knows when I'll have time to play that again. Between all the other stuff I have going on outside of YouTube and just life, it's just hard to actually really play my PS4 too much. Oh, I've always toyed around actually with having a gaming element to this channel, which would probably be called, like, I even have like a sub channel like Al's Worst Games Ever, because I'm awful except for that game. I am good at Shadows of War. Everything else I'm awful. I would like title it How Not to Play. Hashtag why are you watching me, because I suck at this. So, all right. Our final question, and this is from Sarto. I think that's how you pronounce that. And it says, who do you think is a match for Pilgrim? So, who do I think is a match for Pilgrim? And this question is a question of about Into the Badlands. I think right now, with Pilgrim with the Dark Gift, probably Sunny might be the only match for Pilgrim because of the Dark Gift. I don't think that Pilgrim is that great of a fighter. Just seeing him, I don't think he's as good as Minerva or the Widow. He's certainly not as good as Sunny. I don't think he's as good as Moon. Minerva, Moon, and the Widow are my top 3 fighters in the Badlands. Those are my top 3 fighters. I like no question. And then after that, I might slide Nyx into that whole equation. Sunny, that's the answer to that question. I think at this point, Sunny is the only one that is probably a match for Moon. I mean, for Pilgrim. That's what I think. Yeah. So that's my answer to that, long and short. So guys, thank you so much for sticking with me. There were some other questions that that I was not able to get to, and I know some of you guys had questions for me, but you weren't able to get them to me in time. So what I would ask is that when we do our next Q&A, you hold those questions so that we can get to them. I just wanted to make sure I got the video out. I said I was going to get it out on Sunday. You guys are getting it now today, and it's Monday. So please hold those questions so that we can do them on the next Q&A. And I just thank you, man. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Thank you guys so much. YouTube is a lot of fun. It's super time consuming, and just to know that, like, you know, you're not doing videos and no one is seeing them. Only you are seeing the videos is what makes YouTube so difficult, because it's not necessarily about the numbers, but it is about the engagement. That's what you want. You do this because you want engagement. You want people to start to talk to you about the things, the TV shows, the movies that you love. And you guys have done that on this channel. Thank you so much. I just thank you. So we will be talking about Luke Cage. I did just get finished watching the first couple of episodes. As I said before, I'm going to actually review this episode by episode. I'm not going to do a season review. I just feel like we get more out of it when we talk about it episode by episode. So hopefully there's some folks out there that like Marvel Netflix movies, and you guys will, or Netflix series, and you guys will join me for that. And of course, we have more Into the Badlands stuff. I just finished a video, which I'll probably put out sometime this week, that was actually based off of a comment that was made from the last video where we did a reaction to the season finale, episode 8 of Into the Badlands, Leopard Catches Cloud. So there, and by the way, there's phenomenal comments going on back in there with theories and predictions. So you guys make sure that you check that video up, and that will be linked up at the end of this video, and jump in that conversation. Some great stuff going on. Guys, thank you so much as always for supporting the channel, for subscribing. I mean that honestly. Listen, if you love Into the Badlands, comic book, movies in general, TV shows, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You guys hit that like button as well, because we will be jumping into that. I'm super excited. I love you guys all. I mean that honestly. Thank you so much, because you have made this whole thing fun for me. So again, guys, thank you. And with that, I will see you on the next video. Peace.